Hello and welcome to our evening showing here at the Lethal Introspection neighborhood. We have next door neighbors Matt and Hannah here.
Hello.
And they're going to tell you all about why you should move in.
House 9 specifically.
Forever.
All right, so this one brought to you by our choices, but your ultimate vote.
Yeah, our two most faithful fans.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone else can go to hell.
Put their word.
Not really. We appreciate your views.
Well, the nice thing about it is I don't know who are the two, except for, I guess, Jared. That's the only one I know.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone else, all the other 509 people, who knows?
You're suspect.
Yeah.
508. I think we lost a friend.
Yeah,
Aw.
maybe. They'll be back.
Come
People
back.
boomerang.
We miss you.
So Vivarium, huh?
Yeah, so we watched this, I don't know, 2 weeks ago for the first time.
Yeah, if
And
that.
It hit the list right away for reasons I'm sure we'll get into. But what did you think?
I thought it was weird, but not enough. Like, the issue I have with it is the fact that it delves too deeply into the Twilight Zone-esque, like, realm of perception, and doesn't stay there long enough to, draw a point, really, I suppose. Like, especially, and I actually got really bummed out about it because when they did reveal their hand, I was like, oh, wow, this actually looks really cool. Why are we only doing 30 seconds of this and now it's done, Like, it seems like the dimensions on top of dimensions aspect of this whole situation, which they were well aware of, was a cool concept, was just kind of left for... we need to really have that strong minute of, cool CGI or whatever. I don't even know. I mean, because it was mostly just camera work of doing like.
For sure, I don't think they even changed sets. Like, it was just a house.
It was just the exact
Lighting.
same, and that's 100% great. I mean, like they
It
have.
was a cool effect.
Yeah. I think that they were a bit too coy with a really cool concept. My cynical mind makes me wonder, like, where exactly was the lack there? Was it a financial one, or was this really as far of a story as they wanted to tell? Because throughout the whole thing, there's little sprinkles of a much cooler dark fantasy, potentially sci-fi story in there. But at the same time, it doesn't deviate away from the parable land aspect of it, where it's like, oh, check it out, these guys are in an abusive marriage, and look at how it's making the kid be even worse. Like, well,
that kid was shit regardless, probably.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Mm-hmm. That I'm not exactly sure where the movie wanted to land on its own when it came to the whole everything that it was trying to showcase. Is it just really a situation where lizard people take you to another dimension and then use you to foster them? Like,
yeah, frog people.
Yeah. Because if it's not, then okay, we can get into the parables of, okay, this kid is an adopted child. You know what I mean? It didn't choose to be born, but it's still here, and it's got its own modalities.
Mm-hmm.
And, you still have to, even if they're not the same species, I would imagine, you're still at a maturity spectrum level much higher than this kid could possibly be. So because of that, regardless of interspecies or interdimensional aspects about it, like the universal rights of the child still like ring through.
Yeah. On your first point, when I came off of this movie, I felt very similarly as far as like the reality of the thing. And you called it out way earlier than I did.
Almost immediately.
Yeah, maybe 20 minutes in, you were like, oh, they're making the next salesman guy. and when I figured that out, it frustrated me. You know what I mean? I don't like.
I was frustrated for a good bit of this movie, but you know, once you, it's like a roller coaster with the like a shitty it's like a shittily built roller coaster. Like like the woos and stuff are still fun, you know what I mean? And you're still there, but you're on a rickety fucking seat the whole time, and you're probably gonna get a light headache.
Yeah.
Your neck's gonna hurt. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's funny because for some reason that didn't like hit Matt and I right away. It's like, I mean, it's clear that it's like a different species and it's like a breeding and raising program, but the idea that he's just going back to work in that store like didn't ring for me until Matt said it.
To like continue the cycle of doing this, like one guy at a time in a
They've
store.
got to have other jobs, right?
I would imagine that they're interdimensional creatures and they feed off of the multiverse. Like they nexus at Foster, right? And then layer families on top of each other in this number 9 plate, in this house number 9. Like I could imagine perhaps it's like house number 9 is like the usable model, and then all of the other empty houses around it are like processing power essentially for this one useful house. At that point, they use Time Lord technology and bend time and space on top of itself and sandwich it in such a way that if you were to look under the sidewalk as she did, you would slip through essentially the seams of the realities, which I would imagine is why the guy is always hearing other people and other things happening the deeper he digs, is because he's going in the right direction. He's just not using the proper dimension to actually be able to see down there. That makes sense.
Yeah,
I mean, this is my first time viewing it too. I mean, like that's what I'm saying. It's like that was so cool. Why not introduce that sooner? You know, like
I kind of feel like a little stupid, and I don't know if this is my fault. Maybe it is, but thinking back, like the movie is called Vivarium. The very first like scene in the movie is the kookaburra like shitting out the other birds in the nest, and it's like I really should have called it as soon as you did. I'm very frustrated that I did.
I can't believe you did it, man, because it's like, okay, again, my cynical mind is like a movie costs at the very least hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions nowadays. It's like they're not going to waste a second in terms of, which I feel is unfortunate because it just really constrains the themes you can, how you can be playful with things. It's like, no, why did you show that cuckoo bird at the beginning of the movie? And so I'm thinking the whole time, it's like, okay, it's going to be some sort of situation where somebody has to essentially raise somebody's kid, or what's the name of the character? I'm always going to call him Mark Zuckerberg. Unfortunately, he's been typecast in my fucking mind.
His name's Tom.
Huh?
Tom
Helm? What's his name?
Tom is in the movie. His name is Tom.
His name's Tom.
Jesse Eisenberg.
The actor Jesse Eisenberg. He always looks like a villain to me. So because of that, I thought that this was gonna be one of those like Good Neighbor movies. No, not the Good Neighbor. The like the Good Guest or whatever. You guys ever see that like schlocky like movie where it's like the Good Guest, and it's like this guy who's a convict, but at the end of the day, he's like kind of like an anti-hero at the same time.
Wait, like it's the
guest, maybe?
No, the host, the something host.
Not the one with David Hyde Pierce.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't want to deviate too much. Whatever. So I always think that he's gonna be the bad guy. So I was gonna be like, okay, when's this guy going to show his face? You know what I mean? It's like he's going to supplant this lady's boyfriend or something. You know, like.
Yeah, no, he was like a regular dude. He just didn't want to raise the frog baby, right?
Yeah.
Like he wasn't an asshole. I mean, their marriage, kind of fell apart as the movie went on, but.
So we can for sure say, right, if the theme of the movie is cuckoo bird, right, that there's this interdimensional race that spits out these, year-long creatures, I would imagine, right? Because by the time that
Sounds
kid's
about right.
that size, right, it's been almost about a year.
Yeah, but the full-grown guy's still alive.
Just
could-
barely, though.
Yeah.
So
So a little over a year, probably.
no, you're right. So how long do they last sitting on that chair? You know?
A
Like-
lifespan, basically, once they post.
No, because the outside world doesn't look like it's like in the future per se. Like,
No,
you know what I mean?
current day.
Yeah. Well, if it's 100 days to what, age 9 or 10, and we just extrapolate that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's right, though, because it was day... Oh, yeah, because he was like 8 to 10 when we were introduced. Yeah, never mind.
So by 6 months, he's 18, right? Which is when she's like, "I wish you would have let me go," when he was a baby.
Well, that
Another-
guy's definitely more than 18, right?
Well,
At least
by
actor.
the end of the movie, I'm saying,
Man looks
Yeah.
35.
you know, because
Yeah.
it jumps a little
Mhm.
bit, right? Yeah, I would say how long would you have out in the real world at that point? That's the time bendy aspect of it, right?
Mhm.
Because the salesman can leave Foster and they can go back to sitting in that, you know, and it could be like one day or 1 hour over here is like the whole 100-day gestation period for the next.
Mhm.
That's true. It is interdimensional.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that holodeck was cool. I too am like very disappointed at like did you see 10 Cloverfield Lane?
No, I never did.
Oh
Add
man.
it to the list, man.
Oh,
I've never
that's
seen
a-
any of the Cloverfield movies, so yeah.
Well, the first one's like a fun, like sort of actiony thing, but the second one's very unique, and it's
do
a
you
very
need to watch
good...
the first one to
No,
No.
absolutely not.
contextualize the first?
I haven't seen any of them except for 10 Cloverfield
Oh, okay.
Lane,
Yeah.
and I recommend seeing it that way.
The cool thing about that movie, without giving anything away, is that what it did was it took like the interpersonal parts of the movie that we should care about, like Tom and what's her
Gemma.
name? Gemma. Like their relationship, and it mixed it well with the outside thing, the like sci-fi thing, and it didn't have to do very much work to do it.
I'm
And-
just so sad that the doctor never came by to help these British people. Like
We're stuck in here.
This
this
is his
looks, this
job.
feels like this whole hour and a half, was it 2 hours worth of movie?
It feels a lot longer than it's only an hour 37.
Okay, yeah, this
Yeah.
feels like the preface to a Doctor Who special where
Yeah.
he comes through and he's like, hey, we're just trying to survive. This is how our species procreates. You know what I mean? What are you going to do about that, ethics doctor? You know what I mean?
And the doctor's like, pew, pew.
Like,
No more your race. That's the ethical
yeah,
thing
exactly.
to do.
Yeah. How about you don't do that? And then the doctor doesn't know about cuckoo birds. He just learns about it. Like, wait, what? Birds do what? That's inhumane.
I gotta go talk to these fucking birds.
And they'll have the same ethics with him. He's like, doctor, you can't. What? This is just how we are. What?
Yeah, I mean, tracking back on the primary point, I agree with you 100%. I think when we watched this the first time, when it enters into like the, you know, she like climbs under the curb and she's going through the different dimensions, I think I out loud went, cool. Like I was excited about the movie at that point. And it was like super, super short. They really didn't, it was like a very little payoff for all the time that we spent wondering.
Yeah, for sure.
It feels like it was very utilitarian. Like, let them know what's going on in under a minute so we can wrap this movie up.
Yeah, it's like an extended Black Mirror-esque Twilight Zone, you know, because it's like, what's the point of the TV? Like, what's the
It's to teach the kid, I think.
Yeah, just.
I think he understands
train
the
it.
language in the TV, so he's learning as he watches the TV.
Mhm.
interesting?
Yeah, and even at the end of the movie, he's got that book with him. Like he's always had that little. It must be his like manual or something.
Yeah, I mean that's a really. I guess at that. I mean, there's something to be said about how much you can chew on what they left over. I guess because like are we looking at just like say in the interdimensional species that they come from, like a really low caste situation where it's like these guys only have a half-life of like a couple days to maybe a couple years, even if it's 3 years, let's say, like that isn't exactly, it's like the little gray boys from that new Mad Max movie.
So I was like thinking about this a little bit because on the second watch, I was like irritated by the beginning scene because I think like the cuckoo bird scene is like, it's too obvious foreshadowing. And
it's right on the nose.
It's exactly. And that was like annoying,
stupid.
But I did find myself like reflecting on that a little bit. Like what makes a species behave that way, and like start to think about it. It's like, that's probably a very efficient way to breed, like, because you only care about furthering your species and breeding more in your species so your species can be healthily populated. And it's like, if another species is raising your young and you can continue the breeding season and you're not risking your own safety, protecting eggs and stuff like that, you probably have a much more successful term, or lifetime in terms of just creating more of your own kind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what is the yeah.
Yeah, but you can't translate those ethics to humans, though. That's the,
I mean, it's not ethics. It's...
No, I mean, just the reproductive concepts of how one goes about doing it. Because you could do that also as a human, It's like, you could have, kids with a whole bunch of people, and do it by prospect, really, be like, ooh, this nest is good. I'm going to go and clutch myself up and, up with these people.
How much do you think we could get done if, like, wolves raised all our children? As a human species.
Eventually, I mean, it peters, right? Because that's interesting, actually, because the aliens are leaving the rearing to the humans, right? And the humans, but they're putting the humans in a prison-esque scenario, with only the facade of what they perceive through their fucking lizard brain, that a human would need. It's like, it's got its little house. The rooms are exactly the right dimension for what humans have through surveys told us that they like, in terms of, the house is just off-putting enough that your neighbors will never want to come over, so you know exactly why you're all alone. That at that point, they're like, okay, now make baby good, you know what I mean? Like, like maybe they like the way that organic human children look, you know what I mean? Out there. And because of that, they're like, yeah, we would like our, children to be empathic. We would like our children to be like this, but so you, human who is, of breeding age, and of proper age, here, do that with this baby, with our baby. Please, and I would imagine that no human yet has, quote unquote, passed the test of making an alien baby in a way that isn't shit, So the only thing that gets propagated out in the multiverse is the shit kinds of creatures, because they literally mirror, right? Like that's their whole point, is you're going to feed me the way that I believe things out there should work in this pocketed dimension, right? So when when I am done here, I can go out there and be just useful enough to lure another pair to do this.
I think that's exactly it. I think you hit it on the head there. It's not necessarily about creating a really good young or a productive young or anything like that. It's just about the exposure, because for whatever reason they picked humans for this rearing process. So the only thing that he needs to do is observe the humans he's been placed with, so he can pick up enough human mannerisms, to not be totally off-putting, to be able to lure another couple.
Yeah, so are the alien... What do the aliens look like?
You know what I would, this is where the film is a little anemic, just like with your question about like what the aliens look like, right? Is the like there was no in using up the cuckoo bird scene, there was no setup as to how the aliens go about setting this whole situation up. Is it really just a matter of, oh, if you walk into this fucking realtor store, you're all of a sudden gonna just get placed in this scenario?
If you follow the guy into the holodeck, I mean, then your fate is sealed.
Yeah.
If you're the type that's like, yeah, maybe it is worth a look. You know,
I guess maybe that's also showcases the clumsiness of the aliens, right? They don't have any vetting process. They're like, any human is as good as the next.
I mean, they're frog people. They don't care.
Yeah, I suppose, right? I mean, like, or a chameleon. They could be like a very advanced chameleon where like they can just perception filter you, you know what I mean, to like see,
Maybe
give you an ocular pat down.
Yeah.
Maybe just being a young couple that's like prepared to buy a home is enough qualification.
Yeah. It's like these
Breeding
guys.
age.
Like they've got it together enough.
Yeah.
At least they do us that justice.
This is like the top 10%.
We don't do it for ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that would be a pretty solid one question vetting process if what you're trying to do is create a farm, a rearing farm, essentially.
There are way easier ways to bring people out to a location than getting people committed to viewing a house.
Yeah, but you don't need a lot of people at the same time, it seems like.
You do just need two, and that's an ideal situation.
Yeah, which makes me wonder about the healthiness of their species. It's like, okay, like you're just making one at a time like that? Like,
yeah, it just seems...
Why not make a couple raise 5 or 6 too? Like,
yeah,
you don't care if they die.
Yeah, exactly. They can all, yeah, I mean...
You're giving them ideas.
They keep showing up boxes of babies.
Oh, God. No, I think maybe, okay, let's imagine then that this is once they've gone through production. Like, this is not the first time this has ever happened, obviously. This is when the most of the kinks have been worked out. Like, sure, they still burn the house down on the first day, but listen, we can build that up right away. I mean, like, that's not a big deal.
They always burn them.
They're always a little difficult.
Yeah, let them huff it out, all right? We like that about them. We like that gumption, all right? That's
yeah, I wonder...
We need that in our salespeople.
Mm-hmm. And there's
go get
like...
it.
Yeah, that fire, they have to make it literally before they internalize it.
It's symbolism for the apes. They like that.
They like that shit. Yeah. Some sort of warm-blooded stuff they do. Yeah.
So, how much did you like the boy as the boy?
He did a great job. Holy shit.
Pretty fucking
Really
creepy.
good.
He did a great job. Yeah, like if annoying was, the little cue card on, outside of the thing.
Just be annoying. No lines. How do you make your parents cry at
knocked it
home?
out of the pie, just cling. Mm-hmm.
I'm fucking disgusting.
Yeah, no, I loved it. I mean, it really showcased, once you have the full package, right, how alien the things you're dealing with are. That they that really what you're looking at is just some sort of like mirror creature that just wants to just pretend enough to be able to get by and get what it needs.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment that it's done with you, they're like, okay, well, cool. I mean, bye-bye, Because that's exactly what happens, like with the cuckoo bird. It's like they literally get so big that they oust the parent themselves too from the nest. So it's like, I mean, if that was the template that they were going for in terms of being like, we're going to try to meld the cuckoo bird biology with a sci-fi-esque Twilight Zone episode situation, I think they succeeded quite well. It could have just been cooler with the sci-fi stuff. And I only say that because they'd had the potential to be.
Yeah, they showcased a little bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, like maybe just a couple more scenes with the like, oh man, it would have been real creepy to see a fucking baby turn into a toddler. You know what I mean?
Or the box get picked up.
The box get picked up?
Yeah.
Mm.
Like, does it just disappear? Does it float off into the sky?
I would imagine it just gets eaten by the ground.
Yeah, just
You're probably right.
Eaten by the ground and then rip right
Yeah,
over.
and then if you see that, you can do nothing with that information.
Well, I would imagine that information would break the spirit of the guy making the hole so much that he wouldn't keep digging the hole.
Oh, so he can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
Although your I think it was you who suggested it, Jose, in the movie. Is you were like, get in the box.
do a solid snake move.
Mm-hmm. That would have been great.
I'm going wherever this garbage is going.
It's really interesting too, the whole digging, thinking about it, because we get the other flash in the only cool part of the movie where there's like what I assumed is a dude laying in the bathtub with his wrist slit, which is what I assumed is the way a lot of these people end up going in some way or another. And it's so like, the hole is just like, it's already there, and the boy is like, yeah, perfect, throw him into the hole, just like you do, and then you fill up the hole, like you do. Like, how many times does the guy dig the hole, and why?
I think every time. I think there's some sort of drive that exists there to dig the hole, because they dig the hole in the exact same spot.
I think the digging of the hole is incidental to the space-time that they're in. Like, because they're in a sandwiched dimension, right, where there are other families, like other people and couples like in that same house that they're in, just out of the seam, right? Like that hearing of other people, especially with the stillness of the air around you, would drive you mad. Like it would genuinely be like this, okay, I can do this, all right, I can dig this hole, and I also have the auditory confirmation that I'm going toward somewhere. Like, holy fuck. Like, what else does an ape need at that point, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, haha, got him. All right, dig hole. Okay. Not all of them will do it, because it would appear that they recycle homes to a degree, right? Because there was a other couple in which the man or the woman both dug the hole, right? And then, they got dropped in there once maybe that's when they killed themselves, perhaps. That would make sense, right? Like, they dug so deeply, and then perhaps they're just like, no, fuck. Or maybe they found the bot, like, maybe under them is genuinely, like, bodies on top of bodies. They're like, they found the body, and then they, like, shot themselves because they're like, no, we're stuck here. And then at that point, they just get dragged in the hole and pop in the hole, in that way.
Yeah, I imagine that would be very disheartening.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, he was like a gardener, so he had a pickaxe and a shovel. I bet not everybody that comes there has a pickaxe and a shovel.
Yeah, they were in their car, too. They weren't at the house.
Maybe that just goes to show how many working class people can afford a home that they'd even get to a showing like that. Nice. Good socioeconomic analysis there, movie. Yeah, most white-collar people don't have pickaxes in their home. They just slit their wrists in the tub.
They take the easy way out. That's why they got where they are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I guess some people are just like complete laissez-faire. Be like, yeah, kid, watch us fuck. We don't give a who cares? Like, But you have to clap, all right? No one likes somebody who's a downer.
We need a little cheering on.
Yeah. No hang-ups in the pleasure chamber.
I think that's no hang-ups in the pleasure. I think that's an imitation too of the sound. He's just doing it along
Possibly.
with them.
The kid was smiling quite, ear to ear. It's really tough to say with this mirror creature, right? Like, the intentionalities of everything that the kid does is duplicitous. Like, when it's like doing like the little dancing and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like, you look at it and it's like, because it's got the visage of a human child, it's like, oh, it's cute, you know what I mean? It's like just trying to join into the rhythm, But do you think that it genuinely pushed that guy to, or was it an accident?
Yeah,
like
the tripping.
Yeah, like
he definitely didn't seem to care or feel bad.
Like, it makes me wonder, like, does the creature eventually start deciding at some point, through its naturally instinctual priming, that it's like, it's time to start hurting these guys little by little, like, debilitate them a little bit. Like, psychologically, it's always fucking pecking at them.
Yep.
Just like the cuckoo bird looks like, where it's just like, ah!
That's
Like,
true. The cuckoo bird also just screams all the time.
Yeah.
It's too
on the nose for you.
It's too on the nose.
I think it's fun because you can dissect
Lazy.
it. I think it's fun because you can dissect it. If I don't like the fact that they placed it right at the beginning of the movie, though.
Yeah.
Because he literally screams until he's fed, like the cuckoo bird. Like, they start rushing to feed him because they know that that's what'll make him stop talking or stop screaming.
There's nothing worse than children screaming.
It's terrible.
Right?
No.
That is the worst thing.
Well, I mean, that's when their facade falls off of them. You know what I mean? It's like you always are primed, as a human, non-psychopathic adult to be like, no, we need to take care of you because you'll eventually, hopefully, be a good one out there. You know what I mean? Like,
That's why, like, babies scream, is it, like, triggers, like, a certain frequency in our brains.
But they at least have, the extra aspect of being so physically vulnerable at that point. Once you're 8 or 9, be like, listen, like, we could all die at any moment and you'd have to fend for yourself. Like, you need to start picking up the modalities a little quicker here. But again, like I said earlier in the movie, as far as things go, the creature picks up modalities very fast, right? I mean, like, if it's gestation, its growth cycle to, child is 100 days, right? Like, that's what's so weird about time is, like, 100 days sounds like a crazy amount of time if you're, like, stuck in some sort of prison feeding and, like, crazy, but that's just
child
3 months, like.
Yeah, but 3 months of eating Mac's famous mac and cheese in suburbia, that's enough to...
Yeah.
Oh, it's a hot one today.
Oh, man.
God.
I wonder if it would have been better if there would have been. Yeah, I feel like it would have. Like, if there would have been one pair of neighbors, but it's of that species. They're like, studies showcase the fact that eventually couples, pull the gun on each other eventually if they're left only to themselves.
Yeah, more often than not. It is.
So, we're going to have to put in our best operatives, like, that's like, ooh, I actually think that would be pretty cool. Like, the reward for a human making a not shitty child is that shitty child gets bumped up to to the title of neighbor. And he gets to be, like, inside of the thing with the humans, being like, no, it's like, they're like trying to be like a Truman Show-esque situation. Like, no, we're in here together. Yes. Oh, yes. We're all angry. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. This sucks. Yeah.
Gosh darn it.
Why do you think they, like, kill them or let them die at the end? Why not just give them another baby?
I think they're just too used up.
Yeah.
I think the psychological necessities of that species make it so only one pair at a time can raise it.
Well, and the motivation to get out is what's making them take care of the kid.
Yeah, they're picking up the wrong people. That's the thing. Like,
I've seen people that raise human babies at their age that look like they're ready to go.
And they have hundreds to thousands of days.
I mean,
to go a lot longer.
Yeah. What are human children if not mimicking aliens?
I'm secretly convinced that this is like some sort of anti-natalist propaganda film.
It felt like it. It certainly felt like it.
There's enough screaming.
I literally, when I'm watching this movie, I'm like, yeah, I definitely don't want kids. Like, I feel firmer. It's the same thing as, like, the Babadook. Like, when you watch that movie, you're like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Quick question. Do you think that the movie would have been better, worse, or pretty much the same if they had used a little bit of their genetics to spliced into the child, just to like try to activate those priming mechanisms of being like, take care of this,
like if they knew too, because they'd probably
that would
do
deviate
pretty well.
that would deviate away from the cuckoo bird angle, you know what I mean, of it.
Yeah,
but at the same time, it's
parasitic.
like, like the cuckoo bird just. I mean, it's just so hard to say because I mean, like birds are just dumb. You know what I mean? Like that's just what it is. Like, I mean, if you as a bird can't tell the difference between your fucking baby and another fucking baby, you're a fucking idiot. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Most species can.
Yeah, especially when your dead babies are right there on the ground.
right there on the ground. Like, what the fuck? Yeah.
You can't see that?
Did you not have siblings? Like,
Yeah, where'd the rest of them go? Oh, well.
well, yeah.
I must have only had one.
Yeah.
I get so confused.
Must have been the wind.
Yeah. So that makes me wonder, okay, is that what these fucking aliens think of us? They're just like, oh, these humans won't like.
They'll think it's theirs.
Yeah. You put it in a box, you tell them to raise it, they'll do it. I'm telling you, they'll do it.
9 times out of 10.
Yeah,
they do it.
exactly. I've got a whole fucking clutch of kids and out there. Never seen them once. Don't care to. But they're out there.
I'm only going to live for another like 16 minutes.
Yeah, I would
so-
imagine that, if all of these creatures are essentially being taught to be sociopathically cynical, that it would be for the best that they don't meet each other, really, for the most part. But like, I'm primed to do my thing, I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah, that's Martin's job
Mhm.
over there.
Yeah, and once Martin expires, well, I smile at Martin, pop him into his bag, I,
Fold them up.
I fold him with the respect he deserves and pop him into the, into the
Do the
desk.
ceremonial folding.
Mm-hmm.
File him under Martin number
Mhm.
300.
Yeah, and now I'm Martin.
Yeah, as much as there is to like try to chew on and suss out, the anemia really bothers me. Like, there's so many cool things about space alien frogmen and Time Lord holodecks.
Yeah,
and
I mean, they could have really played, even if they wanted to keep it low sci-fi, they could have just played with the whole aspect of like, who's this kid talking to?
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
give a little bit more, or maybe do that. I really liked where they were going with the scene where she told him, hey, walk, I'll follow you. When you turn the corner, I'll want to see if I can keep up with you.
Mhm.
I think that it would have been cooler if it would have been the more, well, at that point he wasn't a kid, but I'm just going to say the kid centric, you know what I mean? Where it's just her getting lost again,
Mhm.
but he knows how to traverse, he understands how to break out of the kaleidoscope, essentially, that is like this place, in that way. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, very tough to say.
Well,
And again, it's like, what if you could pull up Wikipedia real quick? What was the budget for this movie? I just really want to know if this was really just a situation where they're like, we have this really cool concept, we can only take it so far. It's like all of the budget went to that 1 minute and a half where the sidewalk got popped open.
Yeah. All of the budget.
All of
Red light bulb, blue light bulb,
Yeah.
green light bulb.
Yeah. Especially because the set is the same everywhere.
It's exactly the same.
yeah, they took their cues from Cube. They're like, look,
Yeah.
we can make this.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you
The audience will get it.
This is going to be cheap.
Yeah, you want to talk about creative austerity? We'll show you creative austerity. So it had a budget of what? 4 million? Yeah, up 4 million euros, and it made less than 500,000. Damn, that is unfortunate.
Ooh.
Yeah, it
Ouch.
really bombed. The reviews for it are not great either. Like, no matter where you look, it's
Mm.
about 50% cared for it and 50% didn't. And I think that's probably fair.
A nerve jangling, finely crafted.
Nerve jangling.
Yeah.
Who's-
Okay.
That should be our new rating
Shakespeare at
system. Is 1 out of 5.
Yeah,
How
was it
nerve
did it jangle
jangling.
your nerves?
Did it
See,
jingle
look
them?
at this. Look at this film poster, right? This film poster lies for sure, because that is not the feeling that the movie gives you whatsoever. Like, I thought that they were going to be in a far deeper Groundhog's Day-esque situation than, like, what the film led on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it would have been fucking sweet if they would have killed the child, felt super bad about it, and then it came back the next day.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
or a new one.
Yeah, I already like that more. That's
You
way
have to
cooler.
start over a brand new baby.
Oh, God.
Could you imagine?
Oh, my God.
Or
Just-
would they trust you with another one? Who
Yeah, I
knows?
wonder how many they'd let you kill before they. All right.
You're fired.
Every time one shows up, you just smash it.
Holy shit. Now, there's a fucking Vivarium 2, right? Where somebody at the beginning of the movie kills the kid right away. And then the entire rest of the movie is them just fucking Jason Bourning it the shit out of there because the fucking the interdimensional lizard people are coming to take them out for the infanticide or whatever. We're like, we're taking you to interdimensional court. Sorry. Infanticide's always bad, all right?
You really broke the rules
Yeah.
here.
You're going to space court, bro.
Yeah. Like if we were gonna put it in terms that you might understand. All right. You remember Harambe? How he grabbed that little child? They shot him, all right?
Infanticide is always bad. Nobody likes that. Well, just to like play with the idea though, because I like this. And one of the things, not that idea. One of the things that I think is really interesting about the movie is like the social aspect of it, where like this is kind of a perfect couple for what they seem to be doing. One's a gardener, the one that digs the hole, and then the other one's a teacher. So she has a soft spot for children, I'm assuming. So what are you cackling at?
Just what you're saying. Like they're the perfect sample of a human, right? It's like
No,
the
they're
man
ideal
digs a
for-
hole, and a woman she teaches, and you know is
Perfect.
caring.
That's all we
No.
need.
The man does manual labor.
Yeah. And for no reason. Yeah. It's just
Pointless.
No, I mean their suitability to this particular sort of experiment or whatever raising system.
You mean the farm?
Huh?
Do you mean the farm?
Yeah, the farm. That's a better word for it. But they both react to the child and like the expectations on them super, super differently. So I'm just kind of curious. How do you think you would react in that situation where a kid's dumped on you? Do you think your instincts would dictate that you care for it or at least keep it alive? Or would you completely abandon it or kill it? Or
This is I'm sorry. Do you want to go first, Matt, or should I go first?
I was just thinking if this is anti-natalist propaganda, they probably very much want to say like, but don't kill kids. Don't kill them. I think that's a nice message. Anyway, no, yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Oh, okay.
I'll answer after you.
If I was that's actually the issue one of the wrinkles I had with this movie at the very beginning before the kid dumping is because
dumping.
like they're in that vivarium for about a day, right? Well, about 2 days actually, because they go on their little trek and you know,
Yeah.
and then they come back or end up back. And my whole thing is, and perhaps this is just maybe they didn't think, maybe they would have thought it schlocky, but I would have made it feel like it would have been better because it would have been more realistic to their time in the sense that we live in a time where we're steeped in pop culture. Okay, this kind of situation, if it were to happen to me, I would just be referencing back to things I have seen that have this exact same kind of modality to them, essentially. Like an interdimensional creature can't catch me off guard anymore. You know what I mean? Like I've seen enough Doctor Who, I've seen enough sci-fi, and I've seen enough of a lot of different low to mid high fantasy things to at least begin to wonder from that perspective, right? I would have loved even just a little drop of being like, this feels like the Twilight Zone. This feels like, you know, like we're being like had in some way, you know. But it almost, yeah, they honestly feel like they're the two characters are plucked from a human archetype-esque situation where like they have no, you know, pop culture sense of themselves. You know, it's just two humans. One is a gardener, one is a teacher. You know, they are 21st century. You know, they know what cars are. They're not freaked out by the radio. Like, like.
So are you
So
saying
what I'm saying is that if this were to happen to me, right, I think that I would probably end up killing myself way sooner, because I would imagine that after you burn the house down and it comes back instantaneously, right? After you get the kid and you burn the house down with the kid inside of it and they both come back instantaneously. Or the house comes back instantaneously and you get a new box with a brand new kid. You're like, okay, boop, hands up. You know what I mean? Like, what, like, the only other option is to continue eating the shitty food that might be poisoning you, actually.
I think it
Yeah.
probably is.
I want to talk about that too. But
Like,
that's
the
a different
food
one.
just has just enough nutritional value for you to be able to eat it, and hold it down enough to take a shit and a piss, but perhaps delicious to the little species, creature boy.
Yum, yum,
Yeah, yum, yum,
Yum,
yum.
yum, yum. Alien cereal, my favorite.
Yeah. Ooh, where's that milk coming from? Hmm?
Yuck. I don't like that question.
Yeah, if it's kind of flavored.
The kid quoted Tom saying, "The food here makes me sick."
Mm-hmm. And I mean, even if the food, and people who have like either a gag reflex or just like an aberrant tongue, really, where like things just taste a certain type of way or like textures can't be, held down. A completely normal food that isn't poisoned or anything might as well be fucking poisoned to them, right? So just even that small deviation of maybe this isn't intentional by the creatures to do it this way, but like, this is their best facsimile of, human food, essentially.
I'd like speculate that it's intentional because like the lady started to look sick and lost all her energy around the same period of time, which was conveniently right around when the kid was.
Oh, holy shit, you're right. Yeah, like there really was just a straight up decline.
Yeah.
And
it was definitely more visible.
I
with
was just
Tom.
attributing that to the loneliness of having them, of the separation of the fact that she has to like double grasp on the shitty alien kid because of the fact that Tom is being distant.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if God, I don't know. Did you guys see if the aliens provide the cigarettes? Because that would be fucking perfect, I feel, right? Like the aliens provide just enough of like,
An extra kill yourself.
yeah,
thing.
an extra kill yourself, but it's like, but for you, it feels good. You know what I mean? So it's like, it would be, I think that would have been really nice. I don't think I saw it though.
I
No,
would
there
start
wasn't one-
smoking cigarettes regularly if I was stuck
No
in
shit,
there
if
and
they
they were
put 'em
just
in the
there.
box.
Like, why
I'm
not?
smoking them.
Like,
I'm stuck
I
here.
mean, we
I'm
get a
smoking
box
'em.
every week, and we have like 6 of them at this point. Are you kidding me?
realistically, though, I don't think that's what's happening because it showed that he smoked beforehand because he like took one puff of a cigarette in the car.
So he had like what 6 cartons?
Well,
I think,
lined at the
I
bottom
think
of his
we
car.
saw him smoke every one that was left in that pack.
I
Yeah.
also like saw him light up like a little bit of a cigarette butt like at least twice. So, and like people don't do that.
So it's
I can tell you as a person who uses nicotine that you would space that shit out as much as you possibly could.
so it certainly is a matter of then the food and shit being poisoned then, because I mean 1 pack of cigarettes isn't gonna kill you. Come on.
Mhm.
I mean, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, plus he had like weird rashes on him and shit.
yeah,
like-
exactly. He had, it looked like he was dying from the inside. Like it had like necrosis almost.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, yeah, and I just really think, people have different resistances to things, and it just, Gemma looked similar to him at the end. Like her eyes looked sunken in. She had no energy. The way she was walking, like,
yeah, a light script doctoring from my perspective would say incorporate the cigarettes as a thing that the aliens provide for them, but are highly addictive, highly killing. Would have added an extra level of psychotic aspect to Tom's character.
Yeah.
Where she's like, you gotta stop smoking. But it's like, why? Why should I stop? They give them to us. You know what I mean? It's like they
feels
obviously want them. We want us to do them. You know what I mean? It's like,
You're raising the kid. I'm smoking the cigarettes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we're both doing some rules here.
These obviously these aliens are taking their cue from Mad Men, and they're like, yeah, Don Draper, fuck yeah, now there was a father.
There's a man.
It is kind of the perfect thing too, because like most other substances will impact how you raise a child, you know, if they're really bad for you.
Mm-hmm.
So cigarettes are like the one that isn't going to impact how you raise the
Everybody
kid.
deals with anyways.
Well, it's not like, I mean, you could put like, you know, like crystal meth in there or something, but they're not going to raise the kid if they start doing that.
For sure. Yeah, and I would imagine, and again, let's imagine again that this is a kinks works out, you know, Vivarium, where they're like, how about a little booze? You know, they're like, they add a little booze to the care package. They're like, nope, can't do that. They get way too violent, way too quick.
That screws it all up. Yep.
Start hitting each other.
And then like the little kid reveals itself as a little lizard much sooner because it gets hurt and it's like does the little recoil.
Yeah.
Like if that little kid would have done that fucking recoil, like that lizard recoil when it was a kid, that would have been twice as creepy, and it would have made it so the movie would have been fucking freaky the whole time. Because imagine if in that scene where they're in the front of the car, he gets hurt, he throws the kid, you know what I mean, and the kid recoils in its lizardy way, you know, both of them have to come together at that point. Too late for the guy because he's already sick anyways. But I mean, like, you know, they end up in the same place with their, you know, with their little moment, you know what I mean, at the end anyway. So if you want that, it'll always line. But then at that point, the kid scurries and goes under the sidewalk right away, you know.
That would be horrifying.
Yeah, and then he doesn't come back for a couple of hours, you know, and they're like, maybe we're safe, you know, like, you know, we can maybe go back inside the house or whatever the fuck, right? And he can, you know, and then at that point, it can wait a little while, and then he can like be inside the house, like in a corner somewhere, you know, like he scurried into his room, like interdimensionally from the sidewalk up to his room, something like that. And then at that point, they literally the whole thing can be the same at that point, but just darker, because at that point they can flip over to when he's an adult at that point, right? And she's still feeding him the same way. And he's like, it's probably fear that does that to me. And that would have been way more understandable had they seen his ass lift the whole sidewalk and scurry under it when he was a little kid. Like, oh, if he can do that at any time, like he can fuck us up at any time. When she was afraid of him, aside from like the male to female ratio of like body domination in that way, like it wasn't anything about him that like made him too scary. You know what I mean? Like,
well, they don't know what he is though, like, because they know he's not human, right? He
What
grows
it
at an
can do.
alarming rate. So you don't know what it's capable of, but there's something about it being a child that's non-threatening or like not as threatening, I think, especially if you spend a lot of time with it. I would start getting really nervous the day it grew into like a full-grown adult and outweighed me. Because it's like, now we lost our chance to do anything.
This poor couple didn't even get, like, I'm sure because this thing is always watching them, like the teenager period where they stay in their room all the time and don't want to talk to anybody.
Right. Where now you're longing for them to...
Right. They probably didn't even get that sweet release.
I didn't get your answer though, Matt, on how you would react in this situation.
Yeah, I don't. It's tough because it is like it's a baby, you know. There's a big part of me that wants to say like, that retaliatory, like, you put me in a prison, you put me in a prison. I'm gonna do everything that I can to get out of the prison.
Do you guys? Yeah, like the you guys remember the scene when like they pick out the baby and like she's holding the baby and she's like, I guess you have to raise it and release, and the baby like looks over to Tom. He's like,
Yeah.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
Or
Can I stay?
are you gonna?
now's your chance, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's as easy as
Put
time.
me back
right
in,
here.
put me back in this box and throw me in that house and burn it again. I mean, you did it once already.
It makes me wonder if they purposely, because 2 days is a weird amount of time to not drop off the baby. So it's like, we need to wait for them to have like their first lash out and then we'll drop off the baby.
That's fair. Yeah, you have to shocase them the futility of fucking with the space time.
Yeah.
In there. Once they puffed
Docile.
it out, you know what I mean, and you've shown them essentially that you're the boss of the space time. You can drop their baby in there.
Yeah.
You know, not. Oh, and maybe the baby is very vulnerable to death and stuff like that. But because of the fact that they've showcased the fact that they can master space time around you like that, it's like a smoke screen. So it's like, oh, how strong is this baby? Oh, you don't want to fuck with it, right? I mean, like,
yep, yeah, it'd be tough. I don't know. I'm probably 51%. I guess raise the baby for now and see what happens, and 49% smash the baby.
Yeah, it's a weird thing because, like, everything in me, I think, would want to test the situation. That's like, clearly, this is what
movie is this exactly? Let's see.
Because you don't know. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. It's like, am I in the good place? Am I in the Twilight Zone? Am I in Silent Hill? Am I am I what moral am I being taught? Who's expending all of these space eddies again to teach me this lesson about what? Parenthood, I guess? Just yell out to the sky.
I get it.
Yeah. Every single day, just yell out to the sky. I get the gist. Please.
I'm pretty sure I get it.
How do I prove it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would imagine it has the exact same sort of like stoppers to like in Bill Murray's Groundhog's Day, where he kills himself continuously, but you never hear about when he went as a serial killer throughout the whole town and murdered everyone before actively going to bed and and then waking up and everyone's exactly the same.
Well, that's just it. It just becomes about breaking the cycle. Like, what are the things that I can do to just break the cycle that's happening so that something different happens? Because after you pass a certain number of days, you probably don't care as much about what happens to you.
As the consequences of your actions?
Yeah, because like early on, putting like the instinctual don't kill a baby aside for a second. Just pretend that doesn't exist.
Interdimensional court has already decided.
Yeah.
Infanticide is always bad.
Early on, you might not do something like that out of fear. Like, I could just get struck dead if I kill this baby. Like, I don't know what that looks like. I'm assuming that's a big problem because that's clearly why I'm here. But like, once you stop caring about that and you're starting to think about suicide, I'm sure breaking the cycle gets more attractive. Like, maybe I'll kill the baby. Maybe I'll just leave it outside and we'll just play poker for a little while and see who steps in on behalf of this child.
I'll play chicken with you, Cuckoo Bird.
Yeah, I'm just going to look out the window at him every day or so.
Because it is quite vulnerable, it seems like, when it's a child, right? It's like...
doesn't even feed itself.
Like... Yeah, because it's not taught to feed itself. Oh, shit. What about that, huh?
Yeah, it has to learn.
Like the only thing that they do is, because it only screams, right? They don't ever like slap it and then tell it, hey, you pick up your own bowl, put it in this fucking cornflakes.
This is how you make cereal.
Not fucking hard. Jesus Christ.
But it isn't. That's how it is feeding itself.
Dude,
it's working.
Yeah, no, I feel it. I very much feel it. There's certainly quite a tinge of a certain type of way of thinking in this movie when it comes to how it views.
Yeah, look at how futile. Look.
And what's your point? What's your purpose in all this?
Exactly.
To be used up and then thrown in a fucking hole.
Oh, man. Also
Pitiless
too close to home.
Yeah, I think this movie, like, takes the idea of less is more and just mishandles the ball. The fact that that there's so much here that we can chew on, that none of it is addressed in the film, is so disheartening.
Yeah,
part of the reason that we picked this for the podcast was because of how mad I was.
Yeah, but at $4 million, I can now understand that there's a lot of technical limitation that they've got going on here. I mean, like, they've got this Jesse guy, right? Who I'm sure
they had to pay him a mil.
Yeah, exactly.
I was gonna say
to be
he's
chilling
probably
around,
half.
making a hole and sleeping in a hole. Are you kidding me? Like, yeah. So I'm sure a lot of that went there, right? And yeah, I mean, just $4 million gets eaten up so quickly between that number of people that you can really only ever do so much. So it's interesting how, those meta understandings really do lighten the heaviness of my criticism, really, because it's like, you know what, like it's like you know, it's like saying 2 out of 5 for all of those fucking hand paintings in those caves in France. But like, yeah, okay, sure. Is that all you could do? Put your hand on the fucking paint? God.
Ooh, hand. You traced it. I can tell you traced it.
I do want to like make a quick call out to that, like the actor who plays the first salesman in the shop.
Mm-hmm.
I thought his performance was spectacular for a low budget movie.
Yeah,
I thought he
was
did very, very well.
I wish he would have been a bigger part of the movie.
Yeah.
I was really waiting for him to come back. It would have been cool if there would have been some sort of like moment where in the interim he like comes through and he's like, oh, just checking up on everybody. How's things coming? You know what I mean? It's like they like try to hold him hostage and he like goes in a closet and then he's not there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
something
it'd be cool.
Yeah, something easy like that. I mean, like that's already what he did the first time, right? Like he left them in the bed and then he like like scurried,
skittered out.
Yeah, skittered out and then just fucking got him.
I don't know why he stuck around to give them the tour of the house. Like,
A lot of it seems really silly in hindsight once you see what the whole purpose is. Because you could literally, I mean, honestly, at the end of the fucking day, you could like, you know, black bag 2 people in the middle of the fucking street, put them in a van, chuck them in the street, and get the exact same results.
you could, and you don't have to own a building with like little model houses.
Own a building. You're saving on real estate. You're saving.
It was saving on processing power, really. Unless what I was saying before is true, where they need a facade outside to like, you know, the same thing's playing in here, but in here, you know, like, I don't know. It's like, is it kaleidoscopic? Is it actually mechanically useful? Like,
Well, why not put like House 9 in the realty shop or whatever that you own? So when a couple walks in there, they're just like stuck.
huh?
Just drop them into a different dimension.
As soon as they enter the store.
Oh, shit. What if you are? What if the moment you enter, when you walk outside, you're already on the path to...
Well, it's very specific, and they do it twice. When you're driving into the place and you see that billboard, the sky is normal. And then after you're in it, the sky is
funky
or whatever.
Got it.
So that's the entrance to the
So when you
holodeck or whatever.
past that poster.
Yeah.
Also, those fucking aliens are lying, because I didn't see one interracial or other racial couple in the interdimensional pockets that they showcased. You know, they're like, we have a very diverse group here. Yeah.
That's how they get
There's just white people all the way down.
Oh, it's only like white people shopping there, and so they're all like, "Oh, that sounds great."
Oh yeah, mint home. Yeah, totally.
Oh my god.
Wait, they're all mint?
Perfect.
It's a lure for them.
Yeah, racist aliens. They're like, well, listen, hey, our babies only come out white, so you can't really like.
So much better when seafoam green is in fashion.
It's such a gross. It looks like hospital colors all over the neighborhood. It's really off-putting.
It's fucking terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'd imagine that if what you're trying to do is lure people, you do it better. But I guess you're not. It's a prison/farm, right? It's like you only have to do so much.
Yeah, I was gonna say a home that's like you see and you're like, it looks like a good structure, but the paint color is bad. You're thinking you might be able to get a deal on, but not if it's new development.
Are you house shopping while we're watching this movie?
I'd like to take a tour of House 9.
This is giving you too many ideas. We shouldn't have watched it again.
I'm ready for a backyard.
Yeah, I'm left with a lot of interesting questions for sure. Like, what would have happened if you break the fucking TV every single day?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
That's the thing is like when on my first watch through, I didn't think a lot about the TV. On my second watch through, I was like, if this was like a weird thing that was playing on the TV and I noticed the kid just sat and watched it, it would not be playing.
No.
I would not want him to get any whatever that's giving him. I wouldn't want him to get it.
Whatever that is.
Yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
Because that would be like if I had already cleared that he wasn't human because he's growing super fast. It'd be like he might be able to understand that or see something that I can't see, and I don't want him to.
Yeah.
If he needs information, someone can show up at the door and explain it to all of us.
That's what would be really cool. Yeah, having, like that's the issue with the fact that they broke apart in terms of their stand, right? Like because of the fact that they were no longer standing together, they were whittling away too quickly, apart. And from that, like the flow of ideas essentially stopped. In order to be able to figure out some way to disrupt the cycle that the aliens got going on. Because again, if they would have held strong about the fact that it's like, hey, listen, like we are going to break this TV every fucking night, and hey, listen, we're already in this fucking prison. Let this fucking kid scream. I don't give a shit anymore. You know what I mean?
You'd get numb to it eventually.
Yeah, exactly. We can get little pieces of paper towel and like get them wet and then just put them inside of our ears and then we'll just fucking chill out all day. It's using its energy. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not feeding it. I'm not. No,
That's
absolutely not.
when they like rush for the food when he starts screaming. That gets under my skin every time I see it because I'm like, that's exactly how you teach something to scream when it wants food.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, sweet, mission accomplished. I did.
Yeah.
I got exactly what I wanted. Like
that's why our cat's a piece of shit.
He doesn't. He doesn't scream. Well, he does scream, and I feed him when he screams. Like, okay, I see where we're going now.
I'm no cuckoo bird, mom. Wait, what?
Glass shatters.
In my defense, I went out into the world and got him and brought him back here.
Douglas didn't just all of a sudden get here and pretend to be your cat.
He might have. My memories might have been tampered with.
Yeah. Did I always have a cat? Yeah, I guess I'm a cat guy. That flows with my personality. Yeah, I'm also cool and kind of distant.
I don't need your attention.
I think cool cat guy is a contradiction in terms.
But you don't see it when you're on the perception filter, man.
Yeah.
You see what you want to see.
But it is like with cats, I think you don't think about it as much. But like when we got the dog and we were figuring out dog training, that's 100% what we heard all the time. Is like, don't reward intensity. Is I think what Cesar Millan says.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they are being a lot, don't give them anything they want.
Yeah,
and you need to like think about it. You need to be intentional because you don't know what they want. Like,
yeah. But I guess that's the issue with being held hostage by a creature like that, right? Is the fact that when you're trying to foster a dog to be a good dog, right? Like you picked this dog, you want the best for this dog in terms of like, normativity for its like social, ways of being. So we're going to teach it and we're going to fucking sit here and do it because god damn it, you're going to be, same with your own kid, right? If you give enough of a shit, you'll have your own method and style that is hopefully non-abusive, but gets the job done. And you end up with a not shitty kid, right? With this one though, it's not theirs, right? So they always have that that stone, that pebble in their shoe, essentially. That even if you want to just be a naturally empathic creature and care for a child, right? Like the fact that this child is probably in some way complicit to your being stuck in here makes it so you have nothing probably but like anger and like toward this kid, and you always have the back foot of when it pisses you off, you can tell that you're not its fucking mom, and the thing is that eventually, whether cuckoo bird creature or human, if you tell something long enough that you're not its fucking mom, every single time shit gets hard, it will eventually, once you're old and decrepit, be like, well, fuck you too. Whatever, Do
you think it's like practicing on them? Like what behaviors cause what reactions?
I like to believe what you originally said about how utilitarian the aliens are in terms of their need for mannerisms. They're like, I can deal with your human sarcasm. Don't quite, but because of it, I never know when you guys are not being duplicitous, So because of that, I am going to take the other aspect of you, which is just being cold and distant, and just run with that.
Mm-hmm.
I will do my thing all day, which is go read this book somewhere, and come back at home, watch my TV. We don't have to talk to each other anymore because you don't need to feed me anymore.
You can sleep outside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, this was always my home. Like, that's actually another thing that is that doesn't exactly run too in line with their cuckoo bird analogy aspect, is the fact that they got placed in a nest that wasn't theirs, right? Like, if they would have, if it would have been a situation where they like lived together and then this fucking creature dropped off, you know what I mean? And they're like, "Yep, take care of it now. Send it to school. Yep,
send it to school." I'm not meeting with the principal about this kid.
We're getting phone calls every goddamn day.
Yeah, like imagine if like there's like the way the aliens showcase themselves in this scenario, right, where the creature and you guys are also in the real world, is like the shadow cabal essentially like calls like the schools and like the truant officer and be like, "Yo, those people have a kid in there. Like they haven't sent a kid to school." You know what I mean? Like if you go and knock on their door, you'll see the fact that there's like an 8-year-old looking boy in there. They haven't been sending it to school. It's like, don't worry, those humans will take care of it on their own.
They'll be fine. They'll figure it out.
Yeah. Then you have so much more measuring power on how they're doing and how engaged they are, because it's like they bought it toys, stuff like that. Like with their own money, they bought it toys.
Yeah, also how that kid doesn't have any toys. I mean, like, it literally just has to talk to them all day. Like,
no wonder it's so annoying. It's not engaged. Like, it's called enrichment at the zoo. Like, yeah, you're supposed to like, even your pets, you're supposed to like expose them to new stuff so they can like interact with being curious, and figuring things out and using their brain in different ways. And
yeah, but they literally can't. I mean, like, they're stuck inside of this time warp.
Yeah, I think it's a system flaw.
Yeah, with those boxes, there should be a second box full of like recreational shit to do with the kid. Be like, here's a coloring book.
Here's some Monopoly. Yeah, here's some Connect Four.
It would be so much easier to be in there if there was stuff to entertain the kid.
Yeah.
But
and
maybe
yourself.
that's...
Fuck. I mean, once the kid's gone to bed, we can play Connect 4 and shit like that. I mean, like...
They brought you this box. Thanks for the coloring book, aliens. Yeah, I really need some entertainment. TV here sucks.
I'm like oddly worried now and concerned and planning for the future. We should throw some like board games in our trunk just in case. Like we get stuck somewhere for a while.
You slip through the seam and you end up in some Silent Hill-esque Twilight Zone
An
place.
Emergency pack of board games. That is one of the things, like, we didn't have board games for a long time, and we started collecting them recently, and we've been really enjoying it. And then for the first time since, like, we started doing that, like, a week ago, our power went out for, like, and it was, like, during my work day and stuff, and Matt had gotten home early, and I got, like, a text that it was going to take, like, 4 hours or something ridiculous, and we were like, well, it's good we have board games.
Yeah. Seriously, people shouldn't be talking to each other all of the time, Like, the tact eventually wears off, something gets retread the wrong way, and then it takes no time at all for everything to just fucking descend, especially when there isn't, just like actually with the witch, like no other buffers of people, right, to like disengage with your own set all of the time. So because of that, you just fall into this horrible pit. Both from the perception of both the child, wherein it doesn't have any peers to tell it, hey, stop being so fucking annoying all the time, all right? To,
you little nerd.
Yeah. Yeah, why do you dress like that? Why do you have a tie on? Where are you going, to church?
I mean, there is an important point here to be made, I think, or a semi-important point is like, this has got to contribute to like their relationship falling apart too. Is like, where's the creativity? Like, we all know the basic formulas of board games. You can make a board game at your house or like make social games and stuff. And I know they played like Mimic with the kid, but that game sucks.
That game's terrible, yeah.
What a stupid game.
But you'd think they'd do more stuff like that just to like enjoy their time more. They're not in there for a short period of time.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, yeah, one can only assume. One can only at this point assume that maybe they did that at some point. That was day 66, perhaps. You know.
She took the kid on a picnic one time,
Yeah.
and like they
One
looked
time.
at clouds.
Yeah.
But we're getting pretty deep at this point.
Well, that's how we like to get here.
It's the whole.
It's the
point.
lethal
Dig-
introspection.
To
We
the
never
point.
said.
Deep, like the whole those two bodies are in now.
And we're on our way.
Mm-hmm.
A minimum of 2.
Yeah, minimum of 2. That's true.
Minimum of 3.
Well, I'm pretty set on how I feel about this movie.
I'm pretty tapped out.
Yeah,
The young man did look like Rod Sterling at the end.
That's true. You do look a lot like Rod Sterling. Rod Sterling, much more handsome, obviously.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he had a cigarette in his hand all the time and asked you deep questions.
Yeah, the voice like leather. I don't know.
The kind of voice only 1950 cigarettes could
Yeah,
give.
that's a Lucky Strike voice
Yeah,
right there.
that's a Lucky Strikes man right there. Toasted.
Yeah, I kind of assumed that. Actually, I was looking forward to most of this conversation. Hannah and I talked about it briefly after we watched it, but yeah, the whole less is more approach, and I understand the financial constraints, but you can do much more. You can make it much more interesting. Like I want to know about the frog. I want to talk about the frog people. Damn it! You know, I've been
We
dying
can't.
to talk about the frog people.
We don't have enough
We
information.
don't have any information about the frog
Aside
people.
from the fact that, yeah, like one day their throat just extends and they have those 2 little things, and it's like, what's the point in that if you're trying to mimic humans? Like,
Yeah, and what do the aliens look like? Are they frog people?
Yeah.
Are they making human versions of themselves?
yeah, it would have been cool if, like, when she hit the guy, like, it would have, like, the perception filter away, you know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
something like that. He was already skittering around like a lizard anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Man, yeah.
or like, you know, or even just like a more simple scene where it's like they have to give this kid a fucking bath, right? Because it obviously doesn't do anything for itself. So like maybe in one of those situations in the bath, you know what I mean? Like they start noticing, you know what I mean? Like,
He really likes water.
ooh, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, he just spends hours in the bath, you know what I
He
mean?
doesn't hold his breath when you duck his head.
That would have been so fucking cool too.
Like,
Just
he doesn't
nice
do
and
the
subtle
little
and be like,
inhale.
no, this kid is not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't drown these kids.
Yeah.
You can try as hard as you want.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, there could have been a scene where the guy would have tried to drown the kid, and kid just hangs out down there. We're like,
He's just smiling, starts singing.
yeah,
Woof woof
woof woof. Yeah.
Under the
Ooh,
bubble.
that'd have been creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
And then she like runs in, like tries to like hold him back, but he's like, and then he's like, no, you don't understand. Like this kid wouldn't die.
Look, watch. He's perfectly fine.
Listen. Yes, I was trying to kill the kid. All right, but
You got
in
me.
my defense, this is a fucking alien. All right.
Just blowing off a little steam.
I come up
I
here and
wasn't
try to
gonna
drown
hold
him
him
every
under
day.
forever.
Yeah, or if it would have started having like, well, no, I guess it's in a perfect coop, right? So like the sun is the right amount for itself, like it's made to be able to raise, you know, a healthy it, you know what I mean? So, oh, but then at that point, it would have been cool if they would have done something where it's like they turn up the heat somehow, like they. You know, like with an oven or something like that, and then like the heat
Like, why is it always
deviation
so
because
warm
it's an
here?
amphibian / reptile really starts fucking with it real quick. You know, like especially if they would have taken less time with the child version and kept it more young adultish, right? Where we could have had a good 20 minutes with him as a young adult, but a menacing young adult. You know, like at this point, they're the 17-year-old that could beat you up.
Yeah.
You know, at that point, do the whole situation where it can still overpower you at the end, not kill you, you know. But then at that point, you understand that, oh fuck, you're just fucked. Like it's just going to wait it out until you're fucking dead, essentially. Yeah, a lot. Yeah, there's a lot here that was just left on the table.
Yeah. Enough to chew on, not enough to swallow.
Mm-mm.
Like the fact that like all of the composite parts of this film are things that I think are good. Like cool, creepy alien race, awesome. Like weird multi-dimensional holodeck, very cool. Like all the like side mysteries of like what the fuck is that TV thing? What's going on with this hole? Like very fun, like little things to do. But when you bring it all together with like not enough glue, I guess, it just looks like it's like made of shit, like at a distance, you know, like you can tell. And it's frustrating because of that very fact that there's all these great composite parts. And it's like somehow you had all the right ingredients for the cake and it came out like crap.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not a very good cake. It's still a cake, I guess.
It's
I
just
recognize
a drab
it.
cake a little bit.
It's got no icing. There's not enough sugar in here. Like, I don't know. So for that reason, I'm going to give maybe my first ever 2 out of 5 stars for this film. And I want to like it bad. It's got so much cool shit in it, but it's a bland cake. And I will only have the 2 bites.
Yeah. How about you, Hannah?
I'm going to be quite a bit more generous than that. I'm going to give it 3.5. And it hits the memorability piece for me. I don't think I'm going to forget this movie overnight. And it's got the right pieces. It loses like what I would consider a good score by just not tapping all the potential.
Yeah, this feels like a little bit of money misspent, perhaps, because like the one big name actor is Jesse guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't play that big of a role in the story. Like it isn't as though they were using him for the specific talents of his acting ability per se. Like the necessity, the things that Tom applies to the story are very minimal to the degree that somebody that probably with a much lower amount of money would have cost could have easily done the same thing, and perhaps an even better job just from a desire of wanting to expose themselves a little, in another way. This guy, unfortunately, to me, is typecast.
Yeah.
Like I have a very, very hard time seeing him in things, and just not thinking Lex Luthor and fucking Mark Zuckerberg. You know, like that's just me, unfortunately. But then that taps into what they were able to do with the movie itself. I'm gonna meet both of you guys in the middle and say a 3 out of 5 stars because, like both of you said, this is like a great preface to a Doctor Who episode. I would have really enjoyed this if this was a 2-parter, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like the whole like chop it up and for the first 45 minutes is them, you know what I mean? And at the end, the Doctor lands with their newest companion and be like, oh, well, like, fuck's happening here, and then in episode 2 we go into the actual creatures themselves. We learn their ethics, why they decide to do it in this particular way, what it is, what's the moral conundrum with wanting to stop them, because perhaps there really is no other way for them to reproduce, and genocide is also always bad.
Well, unless you're the Doctor, and then it's
then
a gray area.
Yeah, exactly. Then only he can figure out when to do it.
When to pull the trigger on that.
Yeah, when should I click the big red button? When is the moment? But yeah, so because of that, I feel like I can't give it any lower than a 3 because like enough things were there to prime me to want to get excited about the concept, but the movie itself doesn't then do that for me. Like it leaves me dangling quite heavily. And in retrospect, it feels like if this is the place where the movie wanted to end, awesome, I like it. What I don't like is all of the unnecessary aspects in the middle of the movie then that doesn't really help to add the tension or add anything extra. You know what I mean? We could have really not used him having to dig for so long. We we really could have used, perhaps just more creepy scenes. If like
Creepier would have been better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way better.
Yeah,
I
build the creepiness every 5 minutes. There should be something creepy, creepy. Because like the child mimicking them all of the time, it loses its luster after a while because it just seems like, okay, this is a fucking alien kid.
I get it.
Yeah, that's what it does. Okay, got it. But yeah, it would have been great if it would have continued, like its weirdness would have continued in a more intense way as opposed to trying to get to this middle aspect of doing this weird, like not fully antinatalist. We're like, hey, look, listen, we don't hate kids, but they're just naturally kind of annoying, like
Yeah, I'm on board.
I'll meet you halfway.
yeah, exactly. Like the movie wanted to tell a parable and at the same time wanted to be a sci-fi story, and it's like you can't, like it got hamstrung in both of those things. Like, hey, look at the effects of an abusive relationship and an abusive household. They can potentially make it so this child grows up to be horrible. But the thing is that the child was always going to be horrible because it can't care. Like, it's so unbelievably under the understanding that I'm a different species. Thank you, mother. Peace. I'm out.
Yeah, Mr. Mother.
Yeah.
And Mr. Father.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and actually, I don't think he ever even calls that thing Tom Father.
No, it doesn't care about.
No, it's like you don't even. Your job's done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're here to dig a hole.
Yep, exactly. Especially because, I mean, like everything that they need, in that sense, is provided by the alien government, I guess. I don't know. Is this also a dig on like single mothers and like the fact that the man just doesn't feel like there has a point because like the government takes care of it subsidizes all of what a man used to have to contribute to a household, which then validated their position and made it so the dig holes they were they were digging all day actually counted for something.
Just the fact that we can get to antinatalism and that idea that you just expressed is like bad marks for this movie.
Yeah, seriously, it's like it's shotgunned. It's like, oh, bro, like it'll make them think of something.
They'll do the work. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Blah.
Yeah, exactly. It just leaves you with a bad taste in your mouth because it goes all over the place. If you're gonna be antinatalist all the way.
Go for it.
Yeah,
Smash
exactly.
the baby.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's not it. No, but seriously, yeah.
Or imagine a scene like a montage scene of them, not like showing them killing the baby continuously, but implying the fact that they're continuously killing the baby.
Garbage bags.
Yeah. Just. No,
that would have been creepy
and
too.
See, this movie sits in such a weird nexus where it could have been a dark comedy. It could have been way more thrilling. It could have been way fucking darker. It could have been way lighter in that sense too. You know what I mean? Where it's like, maybe the kid did end up caring. You know what I mean? Like shit. Like it could. There could have been so many different ways of like dealing with it, but they were so down the middle about everything that I don't feel any one particular way or the other about it. And the only thing that that's giving me that extra 0.5 is all of that pop culture referencing that this this situation primes inside of me. Because I'm like, okay, I've been here before, quote unquote, in a particular type of way. How do we deal with it?
It's like the ambivalence of the cuckoo, in the pointless nature. Like, what are you? Hey, at the end of the day,
yeah,
it's what the bird does. And like, we can't really care about that, right?
But see, that's the issue, right? Is the fact that if these creatures are supposed to be of a higher kind than we are, shouldn't they be then placed in an even higher ethical, like, rung of like consideration for us in that way? But perhaps they've realized, because they're so intelligent that ethics doesn't really matter. They're like, fucking, we don't really give a shit.
Oh shit! What if it's like objective morality is real, but it's that?
Yeah.
Oh no!
They're like, we could care about ethics, but nothing makes us have to.
Well, I'm glad you got the 3.5 out of it. I would have
No,
given
I got
it
a. Didn't I say 3?
He
Oh, you
said
said 3. Yeah,
Yeah.
you said 3.5.
Yeah, it was lukewarm, 2.5 in the middle, but it's the extra sci-fi fantasy sprinklings that added that extra little bit because there is a lot to play with here. Like you can really toss this around.
Yeah.
I was about to say toss this salad, but but you know what? I said it already. There you go. That-
This is a movie whose salad I would not toss.
yeah, I almost wouldn't
That's
either.
what I'll
But I mean, if you're in prison,
Hey, when in Rome.
all right. Well, shit. I'm glad that we managed to be able to do such an ambivalent movie in terms of our feelings about it, especially when the movie itself wasn't 100% shit, right? Like it's very easy to just, discard and disqualify when everything from the technical to the creative is absolutely schlock. But,
This wasn't a great cake.
yeah, this hat and the extra demerits come from the fact that, we see your potential. Like, I feel like a really disappointed teacher right now handing out a C+ to an A+. I mean, an A student be like, come on.
You're better than this.
But, can't win them all. And that's the story that the Cooper tells us. So with that, we'll have a good day and a good night.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night. Don't hate your children.